Hi everyone, I'm Scott from Sharkey's Floral and Greenhouses and Beat Your Neighbor Fertilizer, and it's fall time and we're getting past the point of no return here with our fall mums that we were decorating our house and our backyards with, and it's time to go ahead and get them into the ground so that they have a little time to establish themselves and come back for next year. Now, what we're specifically talking about today are the perennial garden mums. These are the mums, the hardy garden mums that you'll find at your local garden center or florist. You really have to watch. If you're just buying mums at a big box retailer, they might not be true perennial garden mums, and there's no point in planting those because they're not going to come back. So make sure you're buying your garden mums from your local florist or garden center. So the first thing we're going to do is, and I already have the hole prepped, but you're going to go about twice as wide as the pot to give that some extra room and to keep that soil nice and loose. I've already prepped it and I've used the good garden soil. This is Jolly Gardener. That's the soil that we like to use. It's a good high quality soil. If you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to soil, when I talk about a good, true, high quality soil, go ahead and go back and look at our videos on soil, because that's one of the really crucial parts, is having a good soil. So I already have it prepped with the Jolly Gardener soil. I have my hole ready to go. I pulled back on my mulch, and the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and plant this. Don't let this be overwhelming. It's simple, okay? Anyone can do this. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and break up the roots on the garden mum, because that's going to give it the best chance of establishing itself in the next few weeks. We really got to get this going because winter's coming. You know, for us here in the very far northern part of the Midwest, winter's coming. The leaves are already falling, so we want to get this going. So we're going to go ahead and break up the roots. You're not going to hurt it. Pinch it, maybe even scrape up if it's really root bound. Go ahead and scrape those off. That way it's going to go into a grow mode and it's going to send out new roots. Get it into the hole that you dug and cover those roots, push it down, kind of pack it down a little bit, get that soil back over top and fill it in. And then I'm going to go ahead and cover with the mulch, or if you have straw, that's fine, but we want to cover the roots, because one of the things where perennials fail is that cold penetrates the roots and kills the plant. A perennial has to be covered, all right? And that's really when we have those years where we have very little snow. Snow is insulating. So when we have a couple feet of snow here in northern Wisconsin, that really protects the plant. And it's those years that we don't have snow, that's where that cold can penetrate down and kill the roots on a perennial, even a very hardy perennial. So we're gonna go ahead and get this is actually cedar mulch, so that's very nice for insulating. Now, we're not going to cut this plant back. We're just going to let it die down, go through that season, and next spring, we'll cut it down early on in the spring. Okay, so this will all be dead, and you're going to look for the new growth, that nice green growth, and then you'll cut it down, and then you'll start watering and fertilizing with the Beat Your Neighbor fertilizer. Okay, that's going to give it that good kickstart throughout the spring and through the summer, to get this plant ready for fall when we want it blooming. Now, another one of the things is you're going to have to pinch back the blooms. So you're going to have a nice plant that's ready to bloom kind of early on. We don't want that. So about the 4th of July, or up to about the 4th of July, you want to be pinching this plant down, about maybe 2 inches or so. Pinch those all off so that it really gets nice and full. We want a full plant, not a tall, spindly plant. If we just let it go, it's going to be a tall, spindly plant. So that's why we want to pinch it up into about the 4th of July. So I've got my plant in. We have maybe a few more weeks, maybe a month of kind of that growing weather, and our nights are starting to really go downhill. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fertilize it a few more times here throughout this growing season with our Beat Your Neighbor fertilizer. I'm going to water it a few more times, and then I'm just going to let it be. Now, it's not that hard. Again, don't let it be overwhelming. You know, with owning a floral shop, sometimes we've had an abundance of garden mums, and I threw them in the skid steer, threw them back in our dump pile, and guess what? They came back. So it's not hard to do. It's pretty easy. So get in the hole, use good soil, fertilize, with the Beat Your Neighbor fertilizer, get it covered up, and then this next year, we're going to, next spring, cut it down, look for that new growth, that nice new green growth, and then start into a fertilizing schedule and make sure that you pinch it back up to about the 4th of July and let it go. So those are the tips. Have a great time.